Liberal media is busy recycling a tired narrative about how voters feel about his presidency. Newsweek pumping out this headline, quote, "Has Trump buyer's remorse already set in?" But there's a twist to all this. The authors of the piece explain how it's not good news for Democrats.
I had a little assumed bias that they would have had buyer's remorse. There were about 9% of folks that voted for Trump, and they said they would change their vote. However, only 25% of those would vote for Harris. As much as they're not happy with Trump, they do not think Democrats offer a viable option.
I wonder why, and it looks like Democrats may be stuck in the ditch for quite some time.
Donald Trump, for all of his profound personal and cerebral limitations, is a culture maker and is a player in the culture. The Democratic Party, above all, has abdicated any role in participating in the cultural process. Instead, it stands at the end of the pipeline saying, please $5 and please vote, and is ignoring 90% of where politics happens.
I mean, Harold, I have to say I agree with him. Trump became a cultural force, and you guys had something in the Obama years. He was a cultural force, still is. But how do you achieve that?
We'll be back. But right now, we're not taken seriously. It's interesting, as you look at the numbers, there's always a correlation in every poll I've seen since I've been an adult in politics that shows that when one party's numbers are going down or the favorabilities are going down, they generally correlate to the other party's numbers going up. In this instance, it's not happening at all. Both parties are just going down. The Democrats have less credibility on issues that matter. You think about what's happened, Kayleigh, over the last few weeks. It's been reported by an in-house newspaper here at our own station here that President Trump has told European leaders that he has no intention of increasing sanctions against Putin if Putin doesn't capitulate right away. He accepted a plane from Qatar for $400 million, which people have raised some questions about. Walmart and Nike announced that they were raising prices or intend to raise prices over the next few weeks, and Moody's downgraded our debt, largely because they don't believe we're serious as a nation about paying down our debt. But having said all that, in a normal time, the other party would pick up some. Democrats, if you don't get serious about the cultural issues, you won't be taken seriously or perceived to be serious on issues that matter to people when it comes to their wallets and their pocketbooks and their kids and their future. So I don't disagree with your proposition at all, but I do believe that there's going to be a Democrat that finds the lane that Greg, I think, articulated very clearly and well. And then they're going to, again, populate that lane with real ideas and answers to people's challenges.
Greg, you got a compliment from Harold.
Wow.
He's trying to butter me up. You know, can we talk about that guy's hair?
Which guy?
The guy that was just talking.
It looked nice.
I have an issue. I have an issue with people who clearly spend too much time.
It's a full head of hair.
It's creating an ostentatious display of a body part. It's like a woman who gets huge breast implants. He's doing that with his hair. It's like is somebody gonna tell him when his hair is too big? Should he get a hair reduction? Get a hair reduction. No one's going to tell him that because it's very self-conscious. You may quibble or disagree strongly with some of Trump's policies, but not the whole package. And I think this is such a rare thing for Republicans to have street credibility. It's probably never happened. There's nothing Trump is doing that isn't real, isn't transparent, isn't in your face. We saw that South African presser, man. He wanted stuff done, so he did it right then and there. I think that's why the Gen Z loves him. And even his detractors realize that, like, his grittiness and his energy is undeniable. And and Harold's right. It doesn't exist on the other side. It's like you're comparing Mike Tyson to Chris Hayes. So I go back to the previous block. With Trump, you know what you're getting. It's not covering up anything, you know? And the detractors should detract a little less because unlike the Dems, Trump is treating you with respect. He's telling you exactly what he thinks. He's not covering up anything. You know, if you ask him something, he's going to tell you what you want to know and then more to a point where you just want him to shut up. But that's a compliment. He's telling you, I assume that you can handle the truth. But the Dems, they don't feel that way about their own constituents. They don't tell them the truth. They lied about a candidate for 4 years. They put a terrible candidate ahead to replace him because they couldn't tell their constituents the truth because they didn't have enough respect for him.
You know, I will say, standing up for that MSNBC man, he had a full head of hair most men would pray for. Jesse, you got that full head of hair.
Not really. But I respect the hair, not much else. Here's how bad it is. You don't understand how devastating it is when in a two-party system, your party is not a viable option. Permission to make an analogy.
Permission granted.
A guy walks into a bar. It's closing time. There's two women there. He sits down in the middle. Blonde on the right, brunette on the left.
Where are you going with this?
He's having a good night, okay? He turns to the blonde on the right. She looks good. Can I buy you a drink? She says, yeah, I'll have a martini. They cheers. She opens her mouth. She's super annoying. He can't stand her. He says to himself, God, did I make the wrong decision? So then he turns to the brunette on the left and he says, how you doing, babe? Can I buy you a drink? And she goes, sure, I'll have a beer. It's a dude in a dress. Not a viable option. So he's like to the blonde, let's go back to my place. This is who the Democrats are. They're the brunette cross-dressing at the bar, not a viable option.
I'm revoking permission.
That is quite an analogy. Sandra, here's one thing that hasn't been a part
You
of
want
this
me to
great
follow
analysis.
that?
Well, no, I will give something to you directly. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. You get that
Bingo.
through, that's the working man's
Bingo.
economic agenda.
And even the MSNBC analyst in this entire panel weighed in and said, the Democrats are offering nothing right now to win over the diverse support of the working class voters 6 months into Trump's second term in office.
Howard
and now
agrees
they're
with you. I've
pushing
been, been saying it for a while. That's our problem.
We'll say for the record, there are two blondes on this panel who are not
Amen.
annoying. Okay, all right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.